Well, welcome to the Fast Lane. I'm Dennis Lane, your humble science teacher. And here I'd like to recap what is week 3 of the 2017-2018 school year. It has been a great, fast start to our year here at Cedar Ridge Middle School in Sandy, Oregon. And so this is your weekly update, your weekly vlog of everything that's been happening in our classroom. So you kind of keep up. What's going on? What have I missed? What have I done so far? So here for week 3, we've made a pivot. We started chapter 2 now of our first unit, the microbiome, where we're studying the microorganisms that live inside you and me. Here we are pivoting, and so with our last week we looked at how the size of microorganisms and how tiny they are. This week we're seeing how they can keep us healthy. In particular, we're doing this through patient 23. Patient 23 happens to be a fictional guy who suffers through some microbiome problems in his gut. He at one point contracts food poisoning with the bacteria. Then he undergoes a massive antibiotics, and these antibiotics strip out his microbiome and really leave space. And that space allows food and really just space for harmful bacteria. So very quickly, patient 23 gets a C. diff bacteria, and C. diff really throws him for an infection loop. And to combat that, patient 23 undergoes a fecal transplant, which is where poop from a healthy person is transferred into an unhealthy person. So you could take that microbiome from a healthy person and put it into the gut of an unhealthy person and get a new start to a microbiome, a healthy microbiome. This allows us to explore how these microorganisms in our gut, in particular, are keeping us healthy and how they're sheltering us from really some terrible bacteria out there that could really either make us sick or, in the case of C. diff, actually even kill us. And so we've been learning about patient 23 and how he is struggling with his microbiome and all the challenges that have come. And just today and Friday, we've seen how a fecal transplant really is changing his microbiome. Additionally, with that part, we're starting to work on scientific argument. And we're seeing how scientists make arguments and claims. And using a scientific argument, we have evidence and reasons that are evidence supported. And so we're starting to find evidence and develop reasons while fecal transplants can keep us healthy and fight off harmful bacteria infections. And so that's what we've been doing in Amplify. And there's been a couple of homework assignments. I believe there's been one on Wednesday, Thursday, and now one Friday throughout the weekend that you can keep up. Which does lead me to my next point. I've been hearing from parents and some students that they're having real problems logging on to Amplify at home. It could be just from lack of internet speed. It could be from just challenges. Two things that kind of comes up. One, we've found out that you have to be really using Google Chrome for a web browser. If you're using Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer, Amplify just doesn't work properly. So if you're having problems at home, you might want to try logging on or downloading the Google Chrome web browser. And from my experience, it's a pretty quality web browser. In fact, I prefer it over the rest of them. The other thing is I've decided that I really want to give students a chance to use those digital tools. And so I'm going to have a homework/makeup day. A day to review and get ready for our test, which should be next Friday. So an opportunity to get those homeworks done that maybe you didn't have a chance to do at home because of internet problems or just life in particular. For those of you who are done, we'll be playing a quick, fun review game called Kahoot, where we'll still be learning and going over what we learned, but we'll do it in kind of a fun trivia way. So look for that makeup day, probably Wednesday or Thursday, depending on how that beginning of the week goes. Well, this year is quickly flying by, and I want to encourage anyone, if you have questions or comments or you're worried about what's happening, please feel free to email me or call me here at the school. I definitely am open to suggestions. I realize that some students are starting to find it's getting a little hard. All right, science can be difficult, but the thing with science is even when it gets hard, you got to keep pushing through. And so I always end my videos with this segment of saying keep moving forward. One, it's from one of my favorite movies, Meet the Robinsons, but two, because that's really what science is about. It's about even when it's getting hard for out there, students, you got to keep pushing, keep moving hard, keep moving forward. So with that, I would like to say adieu and see you next week and keep moving forward.